Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, days after the major national dialogue held in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, to find a way out of the Anglophone crisis, killings and other atrocities continue in the two English-speaking regions, the Northwest and the Southwest regions, and widespread condemnations are now rising to the sky over the killing of certain Florence Ayafo in the Pinyin locality, northwest region of the country. She was gruesomely killed by some unidentified individuals. And still talking about the Anglophone crisis, more ex-fighters are dropping their guns and returning to the normal life trend. Some of them were presented to the press yesterday at the governor's office in the southwest region of the country. They were presented as ex-fighters who had dropped their guns and are now in the rehabilitation center of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Committee. And also in this newscast, we're going to talk about the new senior divisional officer of the BLM division in the crisis-hit southwest region of the country. It had been reported, especially on social media, that he had turned down his appointment by the President of the Republic for fear of the deepening crisis hitting that part of the country. But speaking to Equinox Television, he has dismissed that information. Those were top stories. Killings and other atrocities have continued in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon as the Anglophone crisis deteriorates further. These after the major national dialogue which brought together civil society, political and of course administrative authorities, religious authorities from across the country and out of the country in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And the event was intended to find a way out of the Anglophone crisis, and this after that event, atrocities have continued in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and the ghost town operation imposed by pro-independence fighters still respected in major towns including Kumba, Boya, Bamenda and other parts of the two Anglophone regions of the country. And the last major incidents that occurred in that part of the country is the killing of Florence Ayafo, a gruesome act committed by some individuals yet unidentified in the locality of Pinyin in the northwest region of the country, and widespread condemnation of that act has been rising up to the sky from different ends, especially on social media. We have details with Hemin Iluga.
A release on social media yesterday after Cameroon's clash with the DRC ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Games comes to ring a bell in the minds of Cameroonians on the inhumane killing of Cameroonian Florence Ayafo in the northwest region of the country by unidentified individuals. Published on her Facebook handle, Shut Ajara invited Cameroonians to pray for the deceased, while calling on the population to decry such inhumane practices. Just like the lioness, has been other timid reactions by peace initiators criticizing the act of extreme violence in the troubled regions this past years. On social media, Maximilian Gombe is a human rights activist who on her publication recalls previous similar acts of violence which her organization decried, but almost nothing, she says, was done by the state to end the extreme violence, notably on women and children. Some with the frightening and shocking images circulating on social media have simply evoked the mercy of God on Cameroonians as they consider the deceased Florence Ayafo in the shoes of every Cameroonian citizen. Another online publication questions here how possible humans who committed the act could be this heartless. We would recall that Florence Ayafo, a Cameroonian citizen, was tortured and slaughtered in Pinyin, a locality in the northwest region of Cameroon's Santa subdivision. Her ruthless killing till date simply gives room for state initiatives and human rights moves to be taken so as to ensure a more conducive Cameroon, which should shun its doors to such acts of barbarism.
And the situation has continued deteriorating in the two Anglophone regions of the country, while the impact of the major national dialogue is yet expected on the ground. After that event, the participants agreed notably on one of the major issues concerning this crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. They notably agreed on a special status for the northwest and the southwest regions of the country, and they also agreed on other issues that are expected to reverse the trend of happenings in the two Anglophone regions of the country, but that is yet to be a reality. The situation has continued deteriorating. In the meantime, many more Amber fighters who have dropped their guns and have decided to return to the normal life trend been presented to the public. The governor of the southwest region, Benau Kaliabilai, received over 10 of them yesterday at his office in the southwest regional chieftown Boya, and they are now in the rehabilitation center of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Committee. Details in this report by Derek Jato.
Sources say the socio-political atmosphere in the southwest region is still undefined, days after the major national dialogue, and at a time that the population of the region is eagerly waiting to see how the outcome of the dialogue will be effected on the ground. Something happened in the region when the southwest governor was away.
The director of Boston Institute, who was acting on my behalf, the defense and security forces, the military and the gendarmes, received them and conducted them to the dormitory where they are already.
And Mr. Foju Bernard, Southwest Regional Coordinator of the Disarmament Commission, did not only take the ex-separatist fighters to the Southwest Governor's office, but he also briefed Governor Bernardo Kaliabilai that they are 10 in number and are all coming from Dian Division. Dian Division is the home of Cameroon Prime Minister and head of government.
My younger brothers here present, 10 in number, they came in from Dian Division.
This is the first public outing of Governor Bernardo Kaliabilai after participating in the just ended 4 days national camp together in Yaoundé. Talking at the esplanade of his office, the Southwest governor was appreciative of their action.
I want you to trust the head of state, to trust the people who are managing the center, and you will benefit. So now that you are here, it is your responsibility to invite your brothers to join you.
At press time, the same vehicle that brought them took them back.
And with regards to the difficult socio-political and security climate reigning in the Lebialem Division, southwest region of Cameroon, it had been reported, especially on social media, that the new senior divisional officer appointed by the President of the Republic had turned down his appointment for fear of the situation over there in the southwest region of the country. But speaking to Equinox television, Mungambo Ekema William dismissed that information and said he is ready to serve his country everywhere, and of course in the Lebialem Division.
Rumor has gone viral on social media that Mungambo Ekema Williams, promoted by a presidential decree from divisional officer for Melong in the Mungo division of the Little Walu region to the senior divisional officer for Lebialem in the restive southwest region, has turned down the promotion for fear of the armed group termed Red Dragons, explaining he desires a retirement. Approaching the residence of the civil administrator, that continues till today. Overjoyed, diluted with bottles of liquor. A clear indication he happily embraced the head of state's trust and the promotion.
I almost fainted because of joy. Almost collapsed because the emotions were too much for me to bear. But notwithstanding, I was happy that I've been given a privilege to serve my country. I've been given an opportunity to prove my worth. And everything being equal, I have to first of all say thank you to God for giving me the opportunity to serve my country in this capacity. I have to say a grand thank you, a big thank you to our President, His Excellency President Paul Biya, for the confidence he bestowed on my humble person.
Mungambo Ekema-William is aware he is diving into what many commonly refer to as from a fry pan to fire. That is, from a peaceful community, Melong, to a deadly battleground, Lebialem.
I do pray that the Almighty God give me the possibility, the might, the wisdom, all what it takes to do my job. I'm glad to be an SGO. I'm glad to be the SGO, the new SGO of the Lebialem Division.
Many who know him, like this Melong resident for 11 years, believes Ekema-William's dreams have rather come true and there is nothing to regret about the promotion.
Et il m'avait toujours dit que l'avenir c'est devant, il faut suivre le rêve. Il a rêvé et on s'en mérite qu'il soit préfet, il a la carré.
Celebrations continue at the promoted civil administrator's residence until when he fully benefits his official installation as senior divisional officer for Lebialem to dish out his professionalism for restoration of peace.
One of the participants at the major national dialogue which took place in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, Patia Sanga from the diaspora, was arrested yesterday. He was picked up at the Kengangi maximum security prison where he said to have been taking pictures and images in violation of the law. And of course, he was transferred according to reports to the State Defense Secretariat in Yaoundé. And Barrister Agbo Bala, human rights lawyer and president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, and other human rights defenders have been working tirelessly since last night for his release. Now we're going to take you to Melong in the Mongo Division, Littoral region of Cameroon, where the number of internally displaced persons kicked out of their homes by the Anglophone crisis has continued increasing, and of course many of them are living in very difficult conditions, still expecting aid from government within the framework of the close to 13 billion francs CFA humanitarian aid, and they are living thanks to men and women of goodwill, as Immaculate Fogwe reports.
The number of internally displaced persons in Cameroon keeps increasing as the socio-political crisis worsens in the two English-speaking regions of the country. Some of these IDPs have integrated themselves in more secured cities, while others are yet to give a sense of direction to their lives due to the deplorable situation they find themselves in. Following the airing of a report on EQUINOXE television vividly describing the poor living conditions of some 350 internally displaced children living at the Lenandem Palace in Melong, Littoral region of Cameroon, some persons of goodwill paid a visit to these persons, providing them with some basic necessities.
À travers le reportage de EQUINOXE télévision la semaine dernière,
while watching a report on EQUINOXE television last week, we saw the deplorable situation of the children coming from Lebialem and other parts of the southwest region. We felt really bad. These children had to trek for long distances to find themselves here. We came here to offer them a helping hand by offering these items to them.
The unpleasantness of what we see every day in the north and southwest region are real. Now we can say that we have seen the disaster of that war, and We are hoping today that the great national dialogue, who is now making that all those who are there find the solution of that situation, because we don't need to see this, what we are seeing today, next year.
One of the internally displaced kids expressed gratitude towards the gesture and wishes that others can copy the good example.
That they have come today in the school of Lenandem, that they have shared and see what the proprietor, His Royal Highness von Jinju, has done. They have come to thank him, and they are very encouraged of his work. And we hope that all of you come again to see the work that the proprietor has done and the improvement that he has done in the school. That Leonard strong, that the Caesar education is the key to success. So we are fighting poverty through education.
His Royal Majesty Tatabong Alexander, who had to transform his coffee factory into an accommodating center, equally appreciated the exposure rendered by the media organ and those offering aid.
Ça, c'est les innocents. Ils n'ont pas choisi d'être ici.
These children are innocent. They didn't choose the situation they find themselves in. Many of them had to cover long distances just to be here. This is a coffee factory that I have transformed into a school. I sincerely thank the efforts of EQUINOXE Television, because without them, we would not have been able to receive these items.
C'est EQUINOXE qui est passé ici. Le président a bien dit qui vous a réveillé. Vous avez dit.
Many other internally displaced Anglophones find themselves in similar deplorable conditions in several parts of the country. Their wish is that the special status accorded to the Northwest and Southwest region will go a long way to resolve the Anglophone crisis.
Members of Elections Cameroon have been working hard to meet the target of the election organizing body in Cameroon, the target of 7 million potential voters for 2019. And they met today in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, to discuss, to evaluate the work that has been done so far and project into the future, and of course strategize on how to meet that target of 7 million potential registered voters for 2019. Take a listen to the President of Elections Cameroon, Eno Abrams Egbe.
The access to some localities for security reasons, the geographical nature of some areas, and above all, the disagreements among representatives of political parties within the joint local commissions. These difficulties notwithstanding, I believe they embolden and strengthen our democratic process. In this regard, while waiting for the end of the cleaning up of exercise of the electoral registers to be completed, we can be hopeful to reach our objectives of 7 million registered voters. There is therefore strong reason to believe that the operation 200,000 enrolled in 1 month, previously initiated by Director General of Elections in order to boost registration, has certainly paid off. At the same time, as part of reinforcing and strengthening our institutional cooperation, some members of the Electoral Board recently took part in the 4th General Assembly and an international conference in Bengaluru, in India, organized by the Association of World Election Bodies, AWEB, on the theme, Initiatives and Challenges of Social Media and Information Technology in Elections. The implementations of the recommendations formulated at this high-level meeting shall undoubtedly give a fresh impetus to our electoral technology and communication process and strategies. In that same vein, during the 7th General Assembly of RECEF held at Sinai in Romania last June, we supported and encouraged the creation of a forum for women on RECEF, which shall operate as a platform for brainstorming and exchange on the introduction of gender mainstream in the electoral process within French-speaking countries. With that in mind, we have resolved to dispatch a female delegation of electoral board members in the coming weeks to Kigali in Rwanda to effectively take part in the launching of the very first edition of this forum, which I hope will contribute to lay more emphasis on the constitution and promotion of gender mainstreaming both internally and beyond our borders. Finally, within the framework of PPF project, we undertook a 4-day training of trainers last August 2019, followed by a pioneer regional meeting that we organized in Douala on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of September 2019 with other stakeholders of the electoral process drawn from the littoral, northwest, west, and south regions. We are now aware of the need to support peace-building projects through dialogue. The strengthening of
Talking Point is up next. Thanks for staying with us in Talking Points. You are receiving Senator Barrister KENGANG George of the Social Democratic Front. He was one of the participants at the major national dialogue. Senator, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, we're going to focus on the recent statement made by the national chairman of your political party, the Social Democratic Front, SDF, demanding that the special status, which is being applied in the Quebec in Canada, should be applied in Cameroon. The components of the system in Quebec should be applied in Cameroon. Is that feasible?
It is feasible. When there is the will, there is the way. It is very, very feasible. And you see, we are so glad that after so many years of clamor by the SDF, through Parliament, through our NEC meetings, and many other instances of the party, we have been insisting on this issue of dialogue. At the end of the day, it came up after serious damage has been done on Northwest and Southwest regions. SDF notwithstanding, we still, as a political party, responsible political party, welcome the dialogue and welcome the resolutions that were arrived at this dialogue, which we feel very strongly that they will go a long way to pacify this tension that is in the Northwest and the Southwest in particular, and the whole nation as a whole. And so
this after that major meeting in Yaoundé, atrocities, killings continue in the two Anglophone regions of the country. Ghost Town is still being respected, and so on. When you look at what is happening now, do you think that the fruits, do you have the impression that the fruits of the major national dialogue will anytime soon be felt on the ground?
I must remind you there were 8 committees that came up with very strong resolutions. Resolutions that if adopted, there will be a solution. You see, the major resolutions was on a special status to the Northwest and the Southwest regions in conformity with Section 62, sub 2 of our Constitution. And so we came and noticed that this Section 62, sub 2 is a skeleton. And we resolved in the SDF to give it some content. And the content, as we have said, is that Northwest and Southwest need autonomy, sovereignty. We need to administer ourselves. And it is another way. You see, the state has been so reluctant to listen to this call for SDF about federalism. But the federalism, I can assure you, has been granted in a big way. This special status, if the content that the SDF has given to it is respected, is executed, I bet you we will come out of this situation. And I call the attention, as I said it in Yaoundé, of the powers that be, the head of state, that it is an urgent issue. As you have said, you see there is war, it is ongoing. They are killing in the Northwest, they are killing in the Southwest, they are killing in Bui, where I'm senator, and the people are doubting because we have failed in the tripartite. We have made promises which have never been fulfilled. But I want to say that God is behind what is happening, and I strongly believe that the head of state himself, despite the fact that he has been told lies, deceived by his advisors, he has come out strongly to stand for this dialogue, and it is going to work.
And you want the system in Quebec, in Canada, to be applied in Cameroon, in Quebec, where there is a whole government, which is a nation in United Canada, with its own government, its own assembly, its own judicial system, and everything well planted and functioning very well. You want that to be applied here in Cameroon.
As I highlighted, you see, SDF, as I said, is a skeleton that they have given to us, 62 sub 2. That is all about it. Now, what is the content? SDF now feels that considering our political history, our heritage, our language, our custom, our economy, we need some autonomy, we need some sovereignty. And this sovereignty has been highlighted in the press statement of the chairman of the SDF, that we just need to pick what is happening in Quebec and apply it here, and it is work. Because in Quebec, you see, the executive the legislative power, the judicial power is independent. It is sovereign. There is autonomy. And so they treat their matters, they administer themselves, and they have a premier, they have a National Assembly. You see, everything is done, but under what? Under one and indivisible country, which is called Canada. So everything too here will be done under one and indivisible country called Cameroon. But as I said, it is federalism that we are going to practice in the Northwest and the Southwest region. It is going to be effective, and the SDF, being the most popular political opposition in the country, being the most popular party in the Northwest and the Southwest regions, we feel very strongly that we have projected the opinion of our people, and if this is put in place, there is no doubt that this violence is going to stop. And
one of the institutions highlighted in the press statement of the national chairman is the House of Chiefs that should be restored.
Yes, we're going back to the 1961 federal constitution. We had a House of Chiefs that was so vibrant. And we need to respect our chiefs because those are our custodians of our tradition. And so this has to be put in practice in order for this democracy, in order for this self-governance to be practical. And it is going to work.
It's going to
Rest
work.
assured.
It's going to work, but there are questions on the possibility of this, what you're proposing, being accepted by Yaoundé, because you're saying it's federalism, you're saying it's synonymous to federalism, and some even go to the extent of saying that what you're describing now is secession. Some people interpret it that way. Will this go through? Will this be accepted by the Yaoundé administration? That is where there's a question.
I must draw your attention that this dialogue that we just held, you have some CPDM stalwarts that did not want this dialogue to hold from the Northwest and Southwest regions. People were against the holding of this violence, the dialogue. They have blocked and blocked and blocked. But at this time, God said, enough is enough. And I think that is the will of God that is prevailing. And you say, don't be doubting. It is federalism. It's federalism. There's no any other way to call it. And with this federalism, as I said, we have given the content, and we represent the people. We are the most important, the majority political party in the Northwest and the Southwest region, and this is what the people have told us to put to the system. And we are calling on the head of state to make sure that it is executed, and that if it is executed, there will be peace. We do not doubt it, because we represent the people and we know what they want. Forget about those who are making noise on the social media. SDF is doing nothing. SDF, people have gone to Yaoundé to wine and to dine. They're talking on social media. I am here. I communicate with the Amber Boys. I communicate with the leaders every day, and I know what they want.
Of course, we have been seeing MPs and senators of the Social Democratic Front mounting pressure at the level of the lower house and the upper houses of Parliament for the Anglophone crisis to be properly addressed by the parliaments, to be properly addressed by the administration, and so on. But come to think of it, if your proposal is not accepted, what are you going to do for it to go through?
If it's not accepted, the world will take note of it. The international community, they will take note that the head of state, the system in place, does not want to solve the problem of the Northwest and the Southwest region and the problem of this nation. So this dialogue has been supported by our international partners, and they are observing, they are looking at us. And so if what we have resolved is not executed, the head of state will take the responsibility.
All right, you're a senator from the Bui division in the Northwest region of the country. I want you to look at this camera and speak to your people, speak to Anglophone Cameroonians.
I'm talking to my people from Northeast subdivision where I come, from Oku subdivision, from Kum, from Jakiri, from Kumbu, that they should trust what we did on their behalf in Yaoundé. I am talking to my constituency of the Northwest region. Trust what we did in Yaoundé. And please forget about the social media propaganda. You know, some people do not want this dialogue to succeed. Military people do not want it because it's a business venture for them. Most administrators have enriched themselves in this thing. And we are saying that enough is enough and that this is the time. You are there, my brothers and sisters, the Amber fighters in the bushes. Our parents are with you in the bushes, they're suffering. And so we are saying that just be confident about what we have done. We went to Yaoundé, we represented you in all good faith, and that what we have done, we are going to push it and that it is going to work. God is for us, and when God is for us, nobody can be against us. So it is a divine struggle which is going to succeed. Please, it is just a matter of time, and this is the time. Be confident about what we have done and keep on praying.
Senator Barrister Kenyan George, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.
Thank you.